All right, first graders. Last week we read um, Frog and Toad are friends. This week we are going to read um, the next book in Frog and Toad are friends, about Frog and Toad. It's called Frog and Toad Together. And in Frog and Toad Together, we're going to pay really close attention for their character traits. Last week, you wrote to me about some of the words that you thought described Frog and Toad. You said that maybe Toad was emotional and dramatic and maybe gullible. And people said that Frog was kind and caring, that he was a good friend, and that he was helpful. Let's see if those words are still true and maybe we can find new reasons, or maybe we'll start to notice some new words that we could use to describe Frog and Toad. Remember, character traits are words that we can use to describe what a person is like on the inside. What type of person are they? Are they kind or are they mean? Are they silly or are they serious? Are they helpful or are they not helpful? Are they neat or are they messy? Let's read Frog and Toad together. Chapter 1, a list. A list. One morning, Toad sat in bed. I have many things to do, he said. I will write them all down on a list so that I can remember them. Frog wrote on a piece of paper, a list of things to do today. Then he wrote, wake up. I have done that, said Toad, and he crossed out, wake up. That's pretty silly. Then Toad wrote other things on the paper. A list of things to do today. Wake up, eat breakfast, get dressed, go to Frog's house, take walk with Frog, eat lunch, take nap, play games with Frog, eat supper, go to sleep. There, said Toad. Now my day is all written down. He got out of bed and had something to eat. Then Toad crossed out, eat breakfast. Toad took his clothes out of the closet and put them on. Then he crossed out, get dressed. Toad put the list in his pocket. He opened the door and walked out into the morning. Soon, Toad was at Frog's front door. He took the list out of his pocket and crossed out, go to Frog's house. Toad knocked at the door. Hello, said Frog. Look at my list of things to do, said Toad. Oh, said Frog, that is very nice. My list tells me that we will go for a walk. Okay, said Frog, I'm ready. Pause. So it's interesting how Toad, it almost seems like his list is bossing him around. He said, my list tells me that we will go for a walk. And so then they go for a walk. When I make a to-do list, I know that it's my things that I have to do, but I don't let my list boss me around. I still do what I need to do. Let's see how Toad keeps using his list. Frog and Toad went on a long walk. Then Toad took the list from his pocket again. He crossed out, take walk with Frog. Just then, there was a strong wind. It blew the list out of Toad's hand. The list blew high up into the air. Help, cried Toad. My list is blowing away. What will I do without my list? Oh no, what's he gonna do? Hurry, said Frog. We will run and catch it. No, shouted Toad. I cannot do that. Why not? Asked Frog. Because, wailed Toad, running after my list is not one of the things that I wrote on my list of things to do today. Frog ran after the list. He ran over hills and swamps, but the list blew on and on. At last, Frog came back to Toad. I'm sorry, gasped Frog, but I could not catch your list. Blah, said Toad. Pause. Frog, are you kidding me? You ran over hills and swamps. And Toad, you didn't run after your list? Even though you were so worried about it and you loved it so much? Why didn't Toad run after his list? He said, because running after my list is not one of the things that I wrote on my list of things to do. He is really letting that list boss him around. I have to say, Toad, you are silly. And it also reminds me of that word gullible, where you're easily convinced by something that doesn't really make sense. I'm kind of thinking that Toad is gullible, and I'm definitely thinking that Toad is silly. What do you think? And Frog running over hills and swamps trying to catch Toad's list shows again that he's a really good friend. He's really helpful. And I also kind of think that he is a hard worker. That was hard work. Let's see what happens next. I cannot remember any of the things that were on my list of things to do. I will just have to sit here and do nothing, said Toad. Toad sat and did nothing. Frog sat with him. After a long time, Frog said, Toad, it is getting dark. We should be going to sleep now. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm having a lot of issues recording this video. Go to sleep, shouted Toad. That was the last thing on my list. Toad wrote on the ground with a stick, go to sleep. Then he crossed out, go to sleep. There, said Toad. Now my day is all crossed out. I'm glad, said Frog. Then Toad went right to sleep. So now that we're finished with this, I want you to think about what happened to Toad in this chapter. And you're going to write a letter to Toad giving him some advice. He needs advice very clearly. He did not have a good day. He did, but then it went very badly. I want you to give Toad some advice about lists and what to do with lists. How do lists work? Are lists helpful or hurtful? Do you have to do every single thing on your list? Can you only do the things that you write down? How do lists work? Go to your writing assignment when you're finished watching this video, and there's going to be a spot for you to write a letter. Dear Toad, I need to tell you about letters. One thing you need to know is, another thing you need to know is, for example, so now you know all about letters. Can't wait to see what you have for advice for Toad, because he really needs it. Tomorrow, we'll read the next chapter, The Garden. Wait till you see it.